transgenders towards getting rid of Jewish supremacy in America, man, we would be so much further.
Man, well, listen, I'm against men and women's sports. I'm against recruiting kids in schools. I fight that. I spent a lot of time on that because the system was pushing it. And then I spent a lot of time on Islam, a lot of time on Israel, a lot of time on China, a lot of time on people being lazy, people not being hardworking. I mean, I cover it all, dude. I'm on the air 4 hours a day. So I don't know what you're talking about. You jump around here. I've always said I don't hate homosexuals. I don't hate trans people. Okay, I don't sit there and judge them for that. Okay, that's the media goes, Alex is a right-winger, homophobe, blah, 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 blah. I am a populist, conservative Christian, but I don't hate people. Listen, here's my deal. It's just as big a sin that I lust after women. It's just as big a sin that in my life I've been very promiscuous. I've done sins way bigger than gender bending. A lot of people didn't have a choice. When I was younger, the left always goes, God, he admitted this. He's a hypocrite. He's against abortion now. It's like saying I committed a murder and then I went to jail for it, hypothetically, and now I'm against murder. When I was younger, I believe it was a blob of tissue, and I paid for probably 6, 7 abortions I know of by the time I was like 18. And then I repented of it and stopped doing it. And the next time I got a girl pregnant, I got married to her and had 3 of my first kids. So that's how that is. And I said, I'm not judging people that have had abortions. I know you got tricked or you didn't know. You need to soften your heart, repent and say you're sorry, and now save others and give money to groups that tell women that they can pay to help have them have their kid and have it adopted. And I've donated money to that. And I've done that to reprove myself in front of God. And I've told the story of how I killed 6 or 7 of my children and it tears my guts out to now know what I did so that people that have done that don't have to harden their heart and can understand there's a way out of it and that God will forgive you for it. That's the same reason I've had Blair White on a couple times.
You killed 6, 7 kids?
And I said why on the show, and people took it out of
6, 7 kids?
Yes, I've murdered I think it's like 6 or 7 of my children now. I'm a murderer.
Yeah, you kind of sound like a jihadist terrorist that you're afraid of. Killing 6, 7 white babies?
No, I mean, when I was promiscuous and like 15, 16, 17, 18, I got girls pregnant. And then sometimes I'd give them the $300. I'd take them to Planned Parenthood, once I had a car. And then one time when I was 18, my dad was in my room and found a Planned Parenthood receipt for $300, and he said, quit killing my grandchildren. And he said, by the way, you're getting out this week. I had a job, I had money. He literally said, I'll help you get an apartment. He co-signed it. I was out of the house in 2 days, and my dad didn't talk to me for 6 months. And then I had nightmares about it. I realized it was wrong, everything else. And then I stood up and I protested hundreds of times at abortion clinics, and I've supported anti-abortion groups, and I've stood up for the right to life groups, and I've exposed the baby organ harvesting.
You know that would have never happened under Sharia law?
I've been a sinner and I've been wrong and I've done things and I've admitted I've been wrong so that others that have been wrong can understand that they can fix themselves with God and with Jesus.
Okay, under Sharia law, that would have never happened.
Oh my God. I mean, there's Sharia law says if you just apologize later, if you're, it's all okay. Listen, here's the deal. I did this hour